Okay, we live. It looked like we live. Good morning, millionaires. Good morning, millionaires. My name is Haziq Ali. I'm a revenue acceleration coach. Normally we do free coaching Friday today, but I got something special for you. We always be doing mindset, skill set, or heart set. Y'all know that already. Y'all millionaire minded, right? But since this is normally a free coaching Friday, and I know we normally motivational around here, but it got a whole different vibe for us today. I got a whole different vibe for us today because I've seen some terrible things, man, and we're gonna get into it today because I think it's just that important. You know, I'm always talking about how every problem in society is really a problem of leadership. What's up? What's up? Good morning. Good morning. Do me a favor and share the broadcast. Let them know we in the house. Hey, hey. Thank God it's Friday. TGIF. The grind includes Friday. Give me a replay, gang, if you're rocking with us. Give me a replay, gang, if you're watching the replay. This is real important. You know what I mean? Today, the new newsletter is coming out about 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Let me put that in the comments so that we all clear. 3:30 p.m. Eastern. It's about to come out. Make sure that you go to make sure that you go to We Are Millionaire Minded. We Are Millionaire Minded. Just put your information in there. Somebody put that on the screen for me. WeAreMillionaireMinded.com. Can somebody do that for your boy? WeAreMillionaireMinded.com. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. WeAreMillionaireMinded.com. Just put your name in the box. Put your email in the box and let it happen. Just let it happen. This is going to be the favorite thing that you get in your inbox every week. Go to WeAreMillionaireMinded.com. This is going to be your favorite weekly delivery. It's going to be your favorite weekly delivery besides if you get checks in the mail. It's going to be your favorite weekly delivery every single week. That's my promise to you. Every week, the newsletter focuses on mindset. Yeah, good morning. Good morning, millionaires. Every week, it focuses on mindset, skill set, heart set. Just like you see it right here. Just like you see it right here. I hope everybody's feeling good. I know I am. I know I am. We're going to get this party started in just a couple of seconds. Let's go ahead and get this party started. Good morning, millionaires. Good morning, millionaires. I hope you're feeling incredible this morning. All right, so listen. Leadership is what it's all about, right? And I can't even hold you up, right? I've seen some amazing leaders. You know, like I really have a lot of love for the CEO of our company. You know what I mean? Where I know there's a lot of different companies represented on here. I know a lot of people call in on the phone line. A lot of people call in as it relates to YouTube, the Facebook group, my own timeline. I know we have a lot of different companies represented. You know, maybe some of you are watching, you know, from you know, different network marketing companies. Maybe you're checking in from different corporations. I know there are a lot of different types of businesses represented. Hey, maybe you are the boss. Maybe you are the leader, which means that your customers are the boss, right? Your customers are the ones that are kind of like helping you run everything. Your calendar is your boss. But as it relates to leadership, man, I really want to get into it today on a whole different level because I'm a real strong believer that a lot of us are not ready for leadership. Even though many of us are leaders and don't recognize it, a lot of us are not ready yet. I've seen some leaders do some amazing things, y'all. You know, I've read books about all kinds of leaders. I love the story of Martin Luther King. You know, after getting these death threats, and this one particular death threat really made him feel some kind of way. So he calls his wife. He calls Coretta, and he's feeling shaken up. Like he's shook up at this point. And Coretta gives him the extra battery in his back. Coretta actually talks him, you know, off the ledge, like, Martin, the people need you out there. To me, that's leadership. Now, I bet you thought that was going to be a story about how Martin Luther King was an incredible leader, and he was. But that right there, I wanted to give props to Coretta, because listen, if your woman is not encouraging you to be a revolutionary, then your woman is going to convince you to be a slave. You hear what I mean? Every problem in society is really a problem of leadership. I've seen leaders do some amazing things, but I've also seen leaders do some horrible things. You hear me? I've seen people who are entrusted to lead others only be out for themselves. I've seen leaders betray people who they called family, right? Even in our own story with Nove, our financial services company. Many of you know that I'm in a C-suite. I'm one of the founders and one of the owners of a financial services company that's poised to change the world. Well, let me tell you, we've seen trial after trial after tribulation after trial. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of it had to do with leadership or lack thereof. I've seen people in other organizations I've been a part of be made treasurers or people that were over the finances. And the next thing you know, they're still in it. And the whole organization pays a price for it, right? People end up getting arrested. You've seen in the movies and in the newspapers, leaders, Bernie Madoff comes to mind, where, this guy was running a Ponzi scheme that was so deep, all kinds of celebrities, all kinds of scientists, some of the smartest people in the world got fleeced by this guy. He was so good at what he did. They were talking about how he could have made them real money had he just been doing it with ethics. He was really good at what he did. And these stories ain't isolated. I can give you dozens of stories of great leaders. However, I can also give you a whole bunch of stories of leaders who've missed the mark, right? Who've entered into unethical or immoral behavior. I can talk to you about some of my own experiences being tested ethically. I'm not going to go there right now, right? This ain't got to be all about me. You know what I'm saying? But as much as it pains me to say it, we have to face the hard truth. A leader who ain't working on being healthy is a leader who won't be leading for long. You hear me? And I want you to be clear. Somebody give me this in the comments. There is no arrival. There is no arrival. We're all constantly growing. There is no arrival. There's no arrival point where all of a sudden you get, and it's like, oh, you done beat it. You know what I mean? We're all constantly growing. And listen to me. Once you realize that, you understand the best gift that you can give to your family, to your friends, and to your followers is the gift of you continuing to develop yourself. Do you hear me? Listen, we all start from a place of immaturity. We all start from a place of inexperience. We're making these mistakes along the way. Growth is messy, y'all. And you can't grow without making mistakes, just like you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. The process is what we got to fall in love with. The process is something that we got to submit ourselves to if we hope to be a leader worth following, right? Somebody give it to me in the comments. I am a leader worth following. What an affirmation. I am a leader worth following. Let me see it in the comments if you believe that about yourself, or you want to believe that about yourself. Let me see it. I am a leader worth following. I am a leader worth following. Check this out. Moving from immaturity to maturity might be difficult, right? But so worth it. So worth it. Because every problem in society is really a problem of leadership. Leading people is a sacred and just divine honor and responsibility, right? It's not just the power, it's the responsibility. And leaders who don't follow that path towards maturity are always going to have a lid, as John Maxwell calls it. They're always going to have a lid placed on their capacity to lead. I'm passionate about a lot of things. Y'all know sometimes y'all come on in the morning at 7 a.m. and I'm screaming and whatnot. I get passionate, right? But leadership tops my list. I think that leadership, especially in its guise, commonly known as entrepreneurship, it tops my list of passions because I believe that everybody is a leader in some way, shape, form, or fashion. But more importantly, I believe that everybody has the capacity to be a good leader. And some people have the capacity to be a great leader, right? Can I see that in the comments? I am a great leader. I am a great leader. I am a great leader. Let me see it. If you believe that about yourself, or if you want to believe that about yourself, if you want to speak that into existence. And the truth is that all of us, even if we have the capacity to be a great leader, have tendencies to be immature from time to time. You know, I've been talking to one of my mentees lately, one of the people who kind of like have given me the gift of leadership in some way, shape, form, or fashion over her life, right? And I find myself being tested. And it's showing me that there are moments where I still am having issues with immaturity. I know I promised I wouldn't make this about me. One of our millionaire minded, one of our Kaizenites, just sort of had an issue where she was going through it because I won't shout her out, but she sent me a text message after yesterday's training, and she was like, man, I was really peeved with you. I was really PO'd with you because you called me about business. I told you I was focusing on my health, and you just said bye and hung up the phone. You just said bye and hung up the phone. And at first, I got my little, nerves touched. I felt myself in my feelings and whatnot. And I was going to come up with a whole bunch of excuses. I was going to come up with a whole shield to cover my wounds, right? We call that defensiveness, where I was going to start justifying and explaining and maybe even doing a little victim blaming, right? Y'all know about that, being a victim blamer? Maybe I was even going to do a little bit of victim blaming, right? That used to be one of my main hobbies, blaming the victim, right? The person who I accidentally hurt, the person who I accidentally offend, I make it out to be their fault. That used to be one of my number one pastimes. It was immaturity. It was immaturity. So what I tried my best to do was meet this person at their pain point and then let them know that I apologize, right? Millionaires, if the goal is to move from immaturity to maturity, then first we have to recognize the places where we're the most immature. I'm a firm believer that a person can never change what they can't see. Can somebody give me that in the comments? You can't change what you can't see. Huh? You can't change what listen to me. If you see it, then you can overcome it, even if it requires a lot of help. Henry Ford famously said, and I believe this, that you don't have to hold a position in order to be a leader. As a matter of fact, man, in today's newsletter, if you haven't joined the newsletter, somebody give me wearemillionaireminded.com in the comments, please. Wearemillionaireminded.com. Can somebody give me that in the comments? I want you to get our newsletter. It comes out at 3:30 p.m. today. You want this newsletter. It's always separated in a mindset, heart set, and skill set. Really quick read. You're going to love it. But what Henry Ford always says is that you don't have to hold a position in order to be a leader. And so what I want to do today is I want to give you 12 of the traits. These are the most common traits that I could think of. If I'm missing any, I want you to type them in the comments, right? This is a list of the 12 most common traits of immature leaders. The 12 most common traits of immature leaders. You ready? There was this comedian, Jeff Foxworthy, who used to be like, you might be a redneck if, right? Well, check this out. I want to play a game called You Might Be an Immature Leader If. You might be an immature leader if. Y'all ready for the first one? Give me a number 1 and a share. If you're ready for number 1, give me a number 1 and a share. I don't want to step on no toes. Not on a Friday. You might be an immature leader if. You might be an immature leader if. Here's the first one. You become defensive when people confront you. You become defensive when people confront you. Nobody likes to be criticized. I mean, it don't actually make you feel great when you're in the wrong mindset, that someone is kind of like coming at you about something that you could be doing better, especially if you think you're doing your best, right? We naturally all can fall into that. But you might be an immature leader if you become defensive instead of taking that opportunity to grow from this situation. Yesterday, we talked about how Bill Gates has this quote where he's like, your most unhappy customers are your greatest opportunity for improvement. Your most unhappy customers represent your greatest opportunity for improvement. Listen, but you might be an immature leader if you become defensive when people confront you. I dare you give yourself a score from 1 to 10 on how defensive you get when people confront you, and then give me a share. Give yourself a score and then give us a share. Share it with a messenger group. Share it with a Facebook group. Give yourself a score and then give me a share. Here's the second one. You might be an immature leader if you ignore the facts of your situations and convince yourself nothing's wrong. You ignore the facts of these crises, of these opportunities for improvement that pop up, these adversities that come along, and you convince yourself, you start telling yourself rational lies, right? You rationalize, right? You might be an immature leader and you won't be leading for long, or what you're leading ain't gonna last. You hear me? Give yourself a score from 1 to 10. Here's a third one. You might be an immature leader if you avoid conflict at all costs. Yeah, man, we call that passive aggression, you know? We call that passive aggression, where instead of you facing the problem head on, you use other people to do your dirty work, right? You manipulate them. Maybe you tell them stories about the other person. You exaggerate. That way they go and start to handle your business for you because you're scared to avoid the conflict. The quality of your life, somebody give me this in the comments. The quality of your life is oftentimes determined by the quality of the difficult conversations you're willing to have. The quality of your life can be measured by the quantity of difficult conversations you're willing to have. Give yourself a score on avoiding conflict. I dare you. Give yourself a score and then give us a share. Here's number 4. You might be an immature leader if you think your ideas are always the best ideas. You think your ideas are always the best. Nobody ever can have an idea that challenges your idea. Nobody better not ever think that your idea ain't the greatest thing since sliced bread, right? You always think your ideas are the best ideas. Give yourself a score on that. If you are in a situation where everybody's thinking the same, somebody ain't thinking. Somebody ain't thinking. If you don't challenge yourself to get around people who are smarter than you, if you don't allow, encourage, and reward people who disagree with you, when it's time for that. Now, after we establish the path we moving on, I get it. You want to be walking in lockstep. But when we're thrashing in the beginning, if you aren't willing to allow other people to challenge your ideas, how the heck you going to be sure you got the best idea? Give yourself a score on number 4. You think your ideas are always the best. You might be immature. Here's number 5. Here's number 5. You might be an immature leader if you blame others for your mistakes, or you allow your team to pass blame. Listen to me, millionaire. The only healthy response to any crisis is to look in the mirror and say, it's my fault. Check it out. It might not be my fault, but it's my responsibility. But if you're blaming other people for your mistakes, if you're doing victim blaming, like I was talking about earlier, right? If you allow your team to pass the blame, like you're passing on this weak, ineffective, impotent culture to your team, right? Because they're supposed to be trying to be like you. You're supposed to be the role model. If you're teaching them to blame others, or you turn a blind eye when they do it, or you accept their weak as water excuses, then what are you doing? You might be an immature leader, y'all. Give yourself a score. Give yourself a score. Give yourself a score on number 5. Here's number 6, y'all. You might be an immature leader if you refuse to allow others to speak into your life. Oh, man, that's a rough one, right? Because some of us have been wounded. Some of us have been manipulated. Some of us have been hurt in the past. And we like, oh, if I let this person speak in my life, they're going to hurt me somehow. That equals pain. We got to grow past that, because it's hard for you to see the picture when you're inside the frame. Sometimes we need somebody else that can see it from a different perspective. Sometimes we need them to kind of share with us what we're missing. You don't get rich from what you know. You get rich from what you learn. Can somebody give me that in the comments? You don't get rich from what you know. You get rich from what you learn. Give it up for that. Give it up for that. If you're ready for number 7, give yourself a score. Give yourself a score and then give me a share. Yeah, I'm still asking you to share. And if you just now got here, good morning, millionaire. Welcome to the morning show for entrepreneurs and leaders. I'm glad you made it here. I'm glad you made it here. Make sure you get our free newsletter. It's coming out today at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. 3:30 p.m. Eastern. This is the greatest newsletter that you never heard of. I'm talking about this thing is amazing. And I say that in all spirit of meekness. I'm saying that with all the meekness I can muster, right? All the humility I can muster. I'm telling you, this newsletter is incredible. We put a lot of work into it. I hope you love it. And check it out, man. Go to wearemillionaireminded.com and put your name in a box. Put your email in a box and just let it happen. All right, here's number 7, y'all, of the 12 signs you ain't ready for leadership. You ready for number 7? You might be an immature leader if you try to do everything by yourself. You try to do everything by yourself because you following the adage of the poor. Y'all know how it goes. If you want something done right, you got to what? Do it yourself. That's the anthem of poor people everywhere. No, if you want something done right, you got to be a better teacher. Right? But if you're immature, you don't know that. If you're an immature leader, you still got trust issues with the people around you, right? Check it out. If you want something done right, you got to find somebody for whom your work is their play. Huh? But you might be an immature leader if you don't know that. That's number 7. Give yourself a score, 1 to 10. 1 is horrible, 10 is incredible, right? How good are you at letting go of that one? Letting go of that one. Here's number 8, y'all. Here's number 8. You might be an immature leader if you think the organization is dependent on you. If you think the organization is dependent on you, if you want it to be dependent on you, you might be an immature leader. You should be looking to fire yourself. You want systems in place. You want it in place where you own nothing, control everything. You know what I mean? Like that's that trust language. We'll talk about that at a later date. But the whole point I'm making to you is that you shouldn't want to be the one that everything is dependent on. You have to learn to empower people. Don't just employ people, empower them. And you might be an immature leader if you think that nothing can get done without you. The whole organization is dependent on you. That is not how you want to play the game, right? If you're ready for number 9, then give yourself a score on that. You think the whole organization is dependent on you? You think the whole organization is dependent on you? And then give me a share. Scale of 1 to 10. Scale of 1 to 10. All right. Here's number 9. Here's number 9. Listen to me. You might be an immature leader if you don't fully listen to other people. Ooh, that's a rough one. Because boy, oh boy, us leaders know we know how to talk, right? Boy, we know how to talk. Am I right? But you might be an immature leader if you don't fully listen to other people. How the heck is God supposed to get through to you? I'm going to tell you something. There's a reason they say poor listener. They don't say bad listener. They don't say horrible. They say he's a poor listener. Think about that. How the heck God's supposed to reach you if you won't listen to none of his people? You know what I mean? God be talking through these people, champ. And if you won't listen, you know what God going to have to do? God going to have to show you. Now you got to learn. Now you got to learn the hard way. You know what I mean? Check it out. You might be an immature leader if you don't fully listen to others. Give yourself scale of 1 to 10. Give yourself a score on that. Where do you think you are with that one? Are you somebody who doesn't listen to others? Are you willing to admit that? Scale of 1 to 10. 1 is I don't listen to nobody. 10 is nah, I'm a really good listener and everybody tells me that. Everybody tells me that. Here's number 10, y'all. Give yourself a score and then give me a share. That's right. I'm still asking for shares. I'm still asking for shares. We all we got, but we all we need, baby. You know, a helping entrepreneur out here. The next problem they solve might be your own. Help an entrepreneur, baby. Share Good Morning Millionaire with him. Here's number 10. Here's number 10. You might be an immature leader if you play victim every time something doesn't go your way. You might be an immature leader now. You might be an immature leader if you are constantly playing victim. Everybody's against you. You know what I mean? It's always somebody else's fault. You might be immature. You might be immature. You might not be ready for leadership, because the essence of leadership is responsibility, y'all. The essence of leadership is the ability to respond, the ability to adapt, the ability to jump in the air and make it up like Jordan did. You know what I'm saying? And the whole idea is that we always hear, this is one of my favorite kind of Hazikisms that you'll hear me talk about, because I was a big comic book junkie, and Spider-Man had this thing that his uncle told him. He's like, with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, and that's true. But check it out. With great responsibility comes great power. When the friends and the family and the followers around you see that you're willing to take on more responsibility, next thing you know, man, you get more power. You know, shouts out to my man Jamal Flono. He going through a lot, you know, with the death of an uncle right now. And he hit me up. He was like, yo, this is the most adult thing I've ever done in my life. This is the most adult thing I've ever done in my life. I guarantee you, his family is showing him a level of respect that he never got before. He's now getting a level of power that he never had before. I saw it in him when we saw each other just a couple of days ago on a Zoom. It was a whole different vibe to him. It was a whole different level of energy to him, a whole different level of gravitas, a whole different level of weight, right? That's power. That's power. He felt more substantial because he's taking on responsibility on a different level. Check it out, y'all. You might be an immature leader if you play victim when everything goes wrong or when something doesn't go your way. When what you're being asked to do is get in the driver's seat. You ain't a passenger in this car called life. You're the driver. You hear me? All right. Give yourself a score on that. Give yourself a score on that. Give yourself a score on that, and then give me a share. Give me a share. Today's episode is brought to you by the newsletter at wearemillionaireminded.com. I know the box don't say newsletter. I know that. But put your name and your email in there, and you're going to get the newsletter. I know it's giving you a PDF. It's giving you the affirmations. It's giving you revenue acceleration. Whatever shows up when you go, right? But here's the whole point. Put your name and your email in there. You're going to get the newsletter. All right, here's number 11. Here's number 11. Here's number 11 on the list of 12 signs you ain't, and I know I used ain't, but yeah, you ain't ready for leadership. Here's number 11. You think what you have to get done is more important than the people you're leading. See, that's another one that I broke yesterday with my friend, one of our Millionaire Minded members, who, when I called her, you know, I was very unfeeling. Some would say even callous. Some would say insensitive to what she was going through. It's immature leadership. And I pray that she accepts my apology, because it's immature leadership at the point you think what you got to get done is more important than the people you're leading. Do you know how much more powerful you become when you have another you out there? When you have somebody that's willing to help you further the mission God done put on your heart. But you ain't going to get that done if you're burning bridges everywhere. You hear me? Give yourself a score on that. Give yourself a score on that. You know, we're supposed to love people and use money, not the other way around. Somebody give me that in the comments. We're supposed to love people and use money, not use people and love money. And I'm not saying that's how we're thinking when we're putting projects in front of people, but I am telling you that's immature leadership. This is the last one I got for you. Then we go into affirmations, y'all. It's almost affirmation time. Y'all ready? Call in right now. Start calling in right now. Shouts out to my man Earl the Pearl. Gonna hold us down with the affirmations this morning. I gotta get out of here. But check it out, man. You might be an immature leader if you're concerned that the people you're leading want your position. You might be an immature leader if you're concerned that the people you're leading want your position. Check it out. All that's going to do is make you start crabbing. All it's going to do is start making you hate on the people who are actually. I remember one time this sister, she probably listening in now. and I'm almost ashamed to share this, but I have been talking about our vision board coloring book, right? Some of you know, some of you don't, but we have the world's first vision board coloring book. It's like a vision board and affirmation coloring book. It's called Color Me Millionaire, right? Like everything else we do, it's all millionaire mind. Like you see the logo down there and stuff, and like this thing works magic because I promise you, I almost bought this Bentley right here. Y'all, you see that Bentley that's right there? I almost bought this joint. Like it literally appeared in my life. It appeared in my life. It was crazy. I was this close to buying it. So this book works. But anyway, I was doing it on a call one morning, and this sister called in and she was just like, "Oh, you've inspired me. I'm gonna do my own coloring book but it's gonna be people from the African diaspora, et cetera, so forth." Instead of me, you know, like later when I talked to my lady about it, she was like, yeah, I'd have been like, "Man, you know, go ahead, send me one." But instead of that, I was an immature leader and I didn't say anything out loud, but I started thinking to myself stuff like, "Well, can you buy this one first?" You know what I mean? I know. Shameful. You can judge me. You can judge me. But all I'm saying is, you might be an immature leader if you're concerned that the people you're leading want your position. My lady literally had to break it down to me. Like, what the heck are you talking about, fool? You know how big you are? What are you doing making yourself look small? What are you doing looking in the mirror at a little man when you're a giant? She snapped me out of that. So in closing, right? And I dare you go back over these 12, write them down, and really look for yourself in some of these, right? Because some people want it to happen, some people wish it would happen, and others make it happen. You want to be a make it happen kind of leader. Leading ain't easy, and leading from a place of immaturity is darn near impossible. The more you see yourself in this list, millionaire, the more immature you just might be. So I got a word of caution for you, because all leaders are going to see themselves in this list from time to time. Don't beat yourself up about it. That's what it means to have a moment of immaturity. That's why I'm being transparent about my own stories. Because for those whose lives, though, are built off this list, that's what it means to be immature. The most important thing is what happens next. What are you going to do with this information we just now gave you? How are you going to apply what you've learned? And if you find yourself only experiencing moments of immaturity, how are you going to continue your growth, right? If you found yourself kind of like being immature, who are you going to hire to help you grow through it? I mean, this might be a therapist. It might be an employee who's smarter than you in this particular area. Maybe you need a human resources person. Maybe you need some kind of divider between you and the people till you get your mind right. But the most important decision you have to make is what happens next. You're a leader. I'm talking about even if you're only leading your kids, even if you've only hit the point where now you're leading your parents because they're getting older, you're a leader. Now it's time to grow up and be one, baby. The world needs mature leaders. The world needs mature, amazing, phenomenal, spectacular, go the extra mile, servant leaders. And if you stay immature in your leadership, then your impact is going to be minuscule. This is the time to grow up. The time is now to grow up. The time is now to internally mature. Because millionaire, either your mind has to expand to match your goals, or your goals will just start to shrink to match your mind. I hope this was good for you. Hope you enjoyed this. It's affirmation time. Call in right now. Call in right now. My man Earl the Pearl gonna take it away. And stop playing small when it's time for us to go woo and all of that. You know what I mean? Y'all better stop playing. Love y'all. You a leader, man.